We are live. Hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. Let me start the song over. How's it going tonight? We here are live. Okay, I sound good. Oh, forgot to, to do one thing. Oh, shit. Shit. Okay. I forgot. I sent out the things. Let me say hello, Cornbread, Sinram, Zane Powers, I saw William Elman earlier, Nathaniel Foga, Austin, Purple Goop, Super Adusky, K-Master, hello, Purple Goop, if I didn't see you, no politics is cheap, please, Zane Powers. Interesting timing for that. I realized I did not plug in my charger, which you should always do. So let me do, it's why I was like, man, everything's ready, and I was not as ready as I thought. We're gonna play this song. We're gonna play the song again while I do this very quickly. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Oop, heard is indeed charging. Apologies for that. What's up, Javier Partello? How's it going? Okay, let's switch to hello. Right in the kitchen, wearing one of my favorite shirts, which I need to get a new one. I got this when they were new, a long time ago. Although it's fun, everyone acted like it was invented, but it's from one of her books. Anyway, hi, how's it going? Interesting week in entertainment, huh? Holy shit. Like, before, yesterday, I was like, before like the news last night, I was like, man, it's a pretty full show already, but I'm wondering if anything will break tomorrow. And shit, a lot of stuff broke tomorrow. Is this like a little? Let's clean off that. Okay. Anyway, sorry. There was schmutz on it, I guess. All right. Oh, first super chat of the night from Javier Portello. Oh, it does look better actually. Oh, but now it looks all. Now the lights are doing that thing. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Hold on. Sorry. Why is it doing... That does look a lot better. Okay, anyway. Alright, sorry. This is... I felt a lot more prepared. And the lights do that, I guess. Anyway. Alright. So our first super chat of the night was from Javier Portello, Super Paul by Art Galaxy. Nice. First I will reveal, nobody guessed it, but it's a different one. I think. Hello, pup. Hello, Alex Giraffe. Yeah, no, not good news at all. But I have this one. Hold on, let me make sure I'm doing it right. It is called Redcon Energy. I've seen it places before. I never had it. It is the purple one, so that's why I said red and purple. Nobody got it. That's fine. Can't get them. Not sure if people like the energy drink clues, but it's better than watching me drink coffee, I guess. Cheers to you all. Let's see how this goes. It's grapey. Apparently has no sugar. Nolan can watch that for me. All right. Yeah, it's been interesting week. I'm not going to do as long of an intro. And I think I'm going to actually try to do try to do the timestamps this week. I know normally I'm just too tired or something, but I feel like when I do more political stuff, I know some people want to just skip over and get to the animation or go to certain things. I noticed that with the Beast Boy one, so I'm gonna try, but understand it's not necessarily laziness. It's more, yeah, I don't know. I think you guys know. Anyway, so the one thing I'll talk about before is over the weekend, because you're watching Me TV Tunes, and there are all these ads for Ninja Turtles because they started playing the first Ninja Turtles cartoon. And my son was like, "Can I watch that?" And I was like, "Well, it's not on the channel. It wasn't starting till this Monday, and it was Saturday." So I was like, "Well, I guess we can find it. It's probably on Paramount Plus or whatever." And we found it, and we watched the first three, and man, that show is actually really good. Like I didn't think it was bad, but since doing the channel and reviewing 80s cartoons and watching 80s cartoons, when you watch the Ninja Turtles, you are like, holy shit! Like I get in the context of the time period, I very much get why it exploded in the way it did. Like I don't know, it's something different when you actually watch something and you understand why it was popular, and like in the context. And even though I was one of those kids, I like fully understand conceptually now because it was like really funny. All the characters are interesting. It's serious and silly, and like the design animation is pretty decent. And I was impressed. I was like, holy shit, this is pretty good. I mean, I don't know. And then we watched Mutant Mayhem later that weekend too. So we were a whole Ninja Turtles weekend. But man, Ninja Turtles I think might go down as the most interesting animation in terms of the whole franchise. Yeah, no, I know it falls off after the first five, but man, I really those first three at least. Whoa. Um, it is on MeTV Tunes. They have a late night one at midnight, and they have one at 4, and I think it's 7:30. If you want to check those out, but I was into it. But yeah, I mean, considering like Rise, and then it's like the original Rise, Mutant Mayhem. That's pretty good run of Ninja Turtle shows, and even that CG one that I never watched that was very popular. So hello Jortunes, hello Modelo Butterfly, hello everyone. Anyway, I just was like, whoa, that's fucking nuts. Um, just watching it and realizing that. But I don't know. Well, I might keep watching it, but it's a fun show. I'll probably watch it on MeTV Tunes, to be honest. Um, and all that. Anyway, let's really get into. Let's just. Before I talk about video stuff, and then we'll. Sorry. I am working on the Bad Guys 2 review. It's sort of. I don't know. I watched a cut of it with my family, and I didn't. I was like, this is needs more work than I thought. So I'm hoping tomorrow. We'll see. But they're a little different because they're not just putting the clips in. It's sort of like its own, sort of a different animal. So I'm sort of figuring that out tomorrow. We'll see. As well as I know I've hyped up the music compilation of older music and stuff. I just haven't found. I don't want to use the same visualizer of just the chair with the lights. I want to come with something new. And I haven't figured it out. I think I'm going to, but I'm sorry to hype that up. I thought I had ideas and then I put them in and I was like, this sucks. So that's the status of that. I think that'll come out soon, but understand it wasn't a. I shouldn't hype anything up ever. And I like that you guys dug the throwback of Diamond Jim, especially when I explained. I'm fairly certain people voted it because they thought it was funny for me to review a movie called Diamond Jim. Hello, Conan the Librarian. But yeah, but I'm glad you like that one. The next throwback will be the original Fast and Furious from the 50s. If you did not know this, is actually true. Roger Corman made the first Fast and Furious movie in the 50s, and then Universal, when they made their Fast and Furious, had to buy the title rights from him, and I think he got some stock footage as well as selling the name. So Roger Corman directed the very first film titled Fast and Furious, not the first Fast and Furious film in the series. Although that film is so franchise so weird, they really should cross over with it and figure that out. I'm sure. But anyway, I did review that long ago. Haven't reviewed. There's certain. I should really fill out the Fast and Furious franchise. Although I think I lost my moment because I don't think people are into those. And on Sunday it will be my dad's film. It's been I think 50 years since my dad's film Violator on the Hook, which will be a throwback on Sunday. But I will have other videos as well and all that. But I'll just say Bad Guys 2 in the compilation. But yeah, I don't know. I watched the cut of it and I was like, this I don't. There's a whole section anyway. It's coming. It's got a pretty good cameo. No spoilers. I mean, Sophie's in it, obviously. It's like the same thing, but a different movie and different cameo person. Anyway, all right. Let's just do the Patreon Discord and then keep it going. And thank you all for being here tonight and all that stuff. All right, so um, that you know what, Monster Trucks and Fast and Furious show. I mean, Fast and Furious and Jurassic Park could have a crossover, and they don't even know what to do with that one next. So I don't. You don't know what to do with Fast and Furious. You don't know what to do with the dinosaurs. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I talked about. Maybe I talked about it last week, but when the head of Universal was like, "We shouldn't have gone to space," I was like, I do not like that we're changing our mind on the ridiculousness of Fast and Furious. That's insanely disappointing. That people are like, "We really should have hampered it down." I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not standing for this. Anyway, all right. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through. Hey Dan, how's it going? Uh, either through. Sorry, this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show where I'll drink this Redcon Zero Energy thing or whatever, or through my Patreon where you get all sorts of exclusive stuff. Where you get postcards, which you for the $10 and up patrons, those are in the mail currently. There'll be a post on it later. You get part of my commentary series. You get update. You get to see when my videos are coming out. When you have a bigger, all sorts of stuff. You get exclusive access to my public access show, all sorts of cool stuff, and helps me continue to do what I do, and I very much appreciate it, especially doing a super chat, which also helps me stay awake after I worked all day and everything like that. Also, when we hit every $20 multiple, the lights will flash. I'll make them flash and all that stuff for a little bit. So, 20, 40, 60, so forth and so on. I will do that if we hit those things. And yeah, but if you're not financially able to do so, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing and liking. If you have not done those things, that also helps. But if honestly you're just watching this somewhere and you just enjoy watching me sometimes and stuff like that, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. It's really nice of you. Yes, also the Discord, which is a really wonderful community. If you like everyone in the chat who I talk to, most of them are on, I think all of them are on the Discord. You don't have to be, but it's a really wonderful community run by Cornbread, Zane Powers, Austin, and Ryan Walterson. They do a wonderful job. They do a movie watch or a watch of something, sometimes a show or whatever, of they're doing This Is Spinal Tap. They're doing This Is Spinal Tap this week. They do all sorts of fun movie watches. There's movie discussions. There's general. We do a daily question. There was a good question about what piece of media are you a fan of without ever having experience, which was I actually thought was a really cool question. Or I asked like, what do you want me to talk about in movie crap, or everything like that. So it's kind of all sorts of it's a really wonderful community. I'm actually going to post in the licensed playing card channel because I like these because I like when my mom gets me stuff. So I like these cards, and it's Fort McHenry, where I grew up. But I'm not super into the American flag. I am going to have another set of cards, which I think my kids will ruin really quickly. So I'm probably going to post these and right after post the other ones. So the licensed playing card channel is about to blow the fuck up. So if anyone who posts this is my last one, I will also note that. I don't check that channel except for when I post. No offense. I don't think it's that active. But if you have playing cards, post them in there, please. Anyway, as well as I have George Tunes, I'll get to you in a second. Sorry. As well as I have a TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Tumblr, Facebook fan page. It's all linked below in the description if you would like to watch, if you would like to follow me on all those and all that stuff. George says, thank you for the super chat. Said, are you planning on doing Movie Crap Live forever? Hope so. I have no plans to stop at this point, and I really like doing it. And I don't say anything shitty or mean, and it helps me keep the channel going. And it's also nice to get all these movie news things because most people don't want me to hear me talk about all these crazy movie things I'm interested in. So it's actually, I think, a good. Anyway, as for right now, yes, as long as I'm around. I don't know. But cheers to you, George. Before I get into the big story of the week, I've heard all these things about weird YouTube algorithm stuff. I don't know about that. I haven't had anything fall apart for me. I'm a smaller person creator, but if you're ever like, hey, where'd he go? Follow me on those things, and then you can check out what's going. I think most of you do, and even on the Discord, there's an announcements thing where you can see all the videos I have and stuff like that. So if you ever don't see me, I know with the bad guys video, I think most of the traffic came because Saber retweeted it, not because on YouTube. A lot of people told me they never saw it on their homepage and shit. So just check it out. You guys are pretty good at finding my stuff, so I'm not super worried. But it does suck if you do anything like that. I know everyone's complained. I haven't really noticed an issue, other than that one video, which was weird. But anyway, moving on. All right, so obviously, you guys are here. there's a lot of big stories this week, but obviously this is the biggest, and I know everyone is excited to hear me talk about it, which is the new Muppet Show special. It's been 50 years next year since the start of the Muppet Show, and the Muppet Show is returning to the Muppet Show theater. This is full Muppet Show. We have Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen, which we knew were going to restart the Muppets. This will be a special half backdoor pilot, and the host is going to be Sabrina Carpenter, who, to be totally honest with you, if we Disney virus does it too well. We only got one new Muppets thing. I just want her and Miss Piggy to get in an argument, and it needs to be about Kermit. I know that's like backwards thinking and shit, but like, come on, that's just like society needs that to happen. We all need that to happen. She's the perfect celebrity to be on the Muppet Show. Just like, I think there can be others who will do very good, but like, she's like the perfect one. Like, come on, her and Miss Piggy have to. They have to do it. It's just like it just makes too much sense. It actually bothers me. Like how did we not have this happen? So I'm very excited for this. This is the perfect Muppet Show for me. By the way, all of the Muppet Show except for one episode, don't look into that. Are on Disney Plus. If you're ever down, just scroll through, find a celebrity. They got Mark Hamill. They got Christopher Reeves. They got no, not actually. She was never on it. You'd think she was. They got Johnny Cash. They got so many cool celebrities. They got Julie Andrews. The Steve Martin one's awesome. There's so many good, and they're all very different, and it's a wonderful show. So obviously, every person who is in the Freaks at one point in Freaks and Geeks has to reboot the Muppet Show. And I'm hoping, we got, Seth Rogen. We got who's that guy from how the other guy from How I Met Your Mother, and then I don't know what happened to that third guy, but maybe he'll do it eventually. But yeah, but anyway, I mean, there was that other Muppet Show and stuff, but we'll see. I don't know. I never really watched that, but I should anyway. I do really enjoy the Muppet Show. It is my like good time. That and the Beavis and Butthead are my two. Like, I'm feeling down, and I want to watch something and stuff like that. I should probably do a short, like, guys, you should really just watch the Muppet Show. What are you doing? Jason Segel, god damn it. God damn it. Poor okay, awesome. That is a great. This is a plus super chat. Poor Statler and Waldorf going to have to sit through that trash again. Excellent, excellent. Cheers to you, Austin. And thank you, Nathaniel Fogel, for correct. Mm. Okay. I did want to, honestly, this is a very jam packed week. And in a normal week, and I'm not joking, one of those things on the thumbnail would be enough for the big thing. But this is like, and I'm not trying to be like hype up this shit or something, but in terms of entertainment news, this is a week where we had three massive stories hitting. And I believe the three I focused on were the three biggest, although I love The Muppet Show. And I'm very excited for it. This was one of the all-time, maybe the all-time week of the year in terms of the three stories. So, and I'm not trying to minimize the importance of them because, like, holy crap. We'll continue Lore of the Muppet Show. Or Muppets Tonight. I don't know what they're going to do with that. I think it should just be, the Muppet Show didn't have lore. So, oh God, John Waters, Dolly Parton. If I wasn't mad at Snoop Dogg, him. I don't know what rapper. I would like Lil Wayne. I don't know. Lil Wayne's a bit of a wild card, so I don't know. Lil Wayne in 2008. Can he come back? Anyway. All right. Let's talk about, in all seriousness, the Jimmy Kimmel thing, which is, holy crap. There's a lot to this, so let's just get into it. What happened was Jimmy Kimmel's show was suspended, is off the air indefinitely, as Next Star, as they're called, has decided to pull him from their affiliates. How it works basically is a network owns the network. Method Man, I'm okay with Method Man. Basically, ABC owns certain stations in major markets, but all the other markets are owned by affiliates because you actually cannot own more than 39% or so of affiliates. And so one of the major owners of affiliates, Nextstar, said they were going to pull not play Jimmy Kimmel. We've had certain affiliates, like random affiliate, like one or two affiliates, do this, but never on this scale before. And then Sinclair said that as well because they're a real pick me kind of company, conservative wise. I will get into them as well. But Nexstar currently owns 28 local ABC affiliates. There are about 200 in the country, if you're curious. And between them and Sinclair, I think it was about 25% of the affiliates would not be playing Jimmy Kimmel. Let me get into more of this, but he said Zane Fire says, "What would Statler and Welver say about this? About Jimmy Kimmel? I feel like Statler and Waldorf would have voted for Trump. I don't know, but anyway, cheers to you, Zane Powers. The original, why this was sped up and why it was done in such a way. But yeah, Nexstar did this. Why this was done in such a way, there's two elements of this. One is supposedly he did this monologue. How this spurred on was he did a monologue on Monday, basically saying that Trump, and all them did a political, he was using the shooter and saying it was like, as we all remember, saying the shooter was, trans or liberal or something like that. And we didn't really know at the time he made this statement, Jimmy Kimmel, we didn't know as much as we know now. However, he said that they're using this as like a political point and trying to drum up politics and such of that nature. But what happened was, we didn't hear anything about this on Tuesday. Supposedly at Disney, there was a lot of affiliates and advertisers who were complaining about this probably earlier than this podcast for the chairman of the FCC. There's a lot to describe here, so I've listened to a bunch of podcasts and read a bunch of articles, and I'm trying to show you the most full story, and I kept getting little tidbits, so apologies. He was on this right-wing podcast. I refuse to acknowledge any of these right-wing people who are not Trump and Vance, and I also forgot his fucking name, so who cares? But he was on a right-wing podcast complaining about Jimmy Kimmel's monologue on Monday, which I think came out at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, and the show was off at about, Jimmy Kimmel's show records at 4:30 in LA, which is about 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But what happened with this is supposedly they had asked Jimmy Kimmel, his studio's being cleared. Fuck. Oh, it's over. That's not good. I hope that's not true, Dan. Hey, Greenwing Sparrow. It's been a while. Spino. Greenwing Spino? So basically, they went to Jimmy Kimmel, Bob Iger, and Dana Walden, who's the head of ABC and considered a Iger heir apparent. Since Iger's going to step down, that's a separate thing. But they asked Jimmy Kimmel to apologize. He told them what his monologue was going to be. They were like, holy shit, do not do that, please. That would be really terrible for us. We don't know what that monologue is, but that's apparently what happened. And then Dana Walden decided to suspend the show indefinitely. Hey, Zodberg. And because they had to, because they did not want him doing that monologue, even like filmed and not released. They didn't want it coming out at all. Why Nexstar did this is a separate thing. Nexstar is trying to seek a approval from the FCC because they are merging with the third largest owner of local TV stations, which would be Tenga, Tegna. But they operate 13 stations, and this would put Nexstar over 39% and about 40% ownership cap, or past the ownership cap. I forget what percentage it is, but they'll pass the ownership cap. So you have to have FCC approval to change the rules. Many of them feel that is outdated. You can decide if you think it is or not. Hello, Daniel Rodriguez. But basically, because no company can own around over 39% of the U.S. audience or households or however you want to call it. And Nexstar is basically being like, we heard the FCC guy hates Jimmy Kimmel. It was part of his plan to take down these late night comics. They were going after him. And ABC decided, much like the James Gunn decision, to fold. he didn't. He also said he thinks Jimmy Kimmel is talentless and asking people who own the station. He actually, the FCC chairman, literally on this podcast asked people who own ABC stations to step up. And it basically, there's no way to look at this and not look at that. This is a very sad day for free speech. What I find insanely interesting about this is, had these guys just waited it out, none of these late night shows, as I said, are making it out of the decade. Like, this is just not a thing that could happen. So, like, if you really hated them, you could have just sat there. But Trump, being the great businessman he is, need to do these things. They all have really stupid. No, I agree with you, Austin. This is not good for anyone in America. This is not good for corporations. It is not good that Disney just wants to appease them, as Bob Iger seems to want to do all the time, much like with the James Gunn thing. The question is, as many people have speculated, will this have a will the repercussions of this end up hurting Disney? Much like what happened with James Gunn. I don't know. Jimmy Kimmel was close to retirement. I can honestly see if what we're seeing before is true, that they basically said, I'm done, whatever, fuck this, I'll just retire. We'll see. But I do think what we're seeing is really distressing, that the chairman of the FCC, you're not supposed to do that. Now, what could happen, and a lot of people said, couldn't they just air it anyway and just release it on Hulu and Disney Plus, or just release it on Disney Plus, where they do not have an FCC problem? The other issue is almost everyone, big company involved in this, has some deal with the government of some creepy merger that they don't want to fuck up. And it's actually not just Nexstar and the Tengda bullshit thing. It's actually Disney is trying to do a DOJ thing because they are acquiring. This is like all these companies want to do these shitty deals, and because they want to do these shitty deals, they don't want to fuck anything. That's basically all this is. This is just companies bending the knee to the government so they can have more money. That's all this shit is, and they found a way to take out Jimmy Kimmel, similar to what the Ellisons did to Stephen Colbert. I was debating that before, but it's pretty clear they're just going to use these guys as a sacrificial lamb to be like, here you go, sir. Can I have my merger? And they're like, yeah, sure. I mean, this is probably not good for anybody. But we don't like these late night shows that literally before these controversies, nobody fucking watched. Like this is not a priority anymore. It's not it's not his first term when these shows were booming after COVID. They've never, anyway, that's the part of this I find very weird. I actually have info on that I found. But Disney has two separate deals. One, this is real, has two deals. One is the ESPN NFL thing, which they're hoping the Department of Justice approves. And then they're also doing a DOJ thing with Fubo, which I don't know what the fuck that is, but they are trying to get that approved. So Disney has their own shit with the DOJ, which obviously Trump appointed, and so they don't want to upset the Trump people at this time because they want their stupid deal to go through. Or deals. And then Sinclair, okay, so Sinclair, I didn't find this out till like, because all day I was like, is Sinclair just like, they just seem like very pick-me little bitches who are notoriously conservative. It's not out of character what they're doing, but it's very much like, well, we're gonna play a special of Charlie Kirk on Friday instead of Jimmy Kimmel, so we're cool too. So and it's just like, dude, what are you talking about? Like nobody's talking about you. Supposedly they do have ambitions. They are for Nexstar doing this because they want to do that too. But it's very like Sinclair just like wants to be noticed by their conservative friends. It's really pathetic. But if you really get into it, why they're involved in this is really, I don't know. It's kind of funny, but it's not funny because this is really terrible and scary. But like their energy in this is like, well, we'll make a special on Charlie Kirk, and you can air it nationwide if you want, and it's gonna be really good, you guys. And it's like, what the fuck is this? No, I've heard a lot more. I'm gonna pirate. I'm gonna BitTorrent all this stuff. This is not good for Disney. The ramifications of this, like if for real just says fuck all y'all, I'm done. It's not good for Disney at all. I don't think they were going to have a replacement show had he come back because his contract is up at the end of the year anyway. But no, I don't think many people know who that Kirk guy even was. This is basically, and they want to make a national day of remembrance and all this stuff. This is what the conservatives do: is they make you have to care about them no matter what. And I like I said last week, I refuse to acknowledge any of their bullshit at all. This I have to acknowledge because it is a major problem. This is probably one of the biggest late night controversies of all time because, like the Colbert thing, absolutely has turned out to be probably for the Ellisons and all of their bullshit, which is like I'll talk about later. I don't want to inundate you with conservative corporate news bullshit. But they basically use that to get on the board of TikTok, to merge Paramount and Skydance, and then merge the Paramount Skydance with Warner Brothers. It's all massively shitty and creepy, and I already knew this was massively shitty and creepy before this hit, and I was going to talk about the Ellisons, but the fact that Nexstar is pulling this shit, Sinclair's trying to bend over, uh, this is just really upsetting, and there's really no way about this whole thing is that this stinks, and Disney's always really been a we'll just pay you and go away kind of company, and I think if they're going to continue, Bob Iger is going to have to change his tune on this. This is not something he can keep letting stand. A lot of Disney Plus's thing is actually that they want you to just sign up and forget you're there and just collect the money like most subscription services. Really, they really are just like want you to just forget you're paying for it and they can just do whatever they want. And a lot of these people who just have that are going to bounce. And that's going to be a huge problem for Disney Plus because Disney Plus was seriously looking at trying to become a major streamer and it's going to fall off down there. But hey Ryan, how's it going? But it's we'll see what happens. Uh, I honestly think summing it all up kind of shows you that this is all about what I think is uh you did miss the Disney stuff, right? Or the Muppet stuff. Um I just think it's like what the thing with these corporations is like as there is no real free speech or democracy if it gets in the way of business. In terms of this capitalism in this country and in most countries, if it gets in the way of business, it is expendable. And that is probably always been the case, but we're seeing it more and more now, and we're going to continue to see that. Because the whole Trump thing and all these people who worship this guy is basically like business matters and money matters over anything in terms of morality. And the idea of that these people use morality before was kind of a sham, and they used it for PR to get more money. But now that they don't need the PR and they can get the government to do what they want, they're going to go in that route. I think it is going to really hurt these people. I also think independent stuff is probably going to rise because of that, but that's just my own theory. There's all sorts of theories going on with this, but we'll see what's going to happen. I'm really curious if I have thought before, would Jimmy Kimmel just say, "Why do I need to do this? I have a year left of my contract. Could you just let me go if this is gonna if like it's gonna hurt the company and I can't say what I'm gonna say and I want to bounce?" And maybe he does a YouTube channel, maybe he fucking doesn't. I don't really like that it's Jimmy Kimmel at all. Uh, but I heard Jon Stewart is hosting a show tonight. I obviously am not watching it right now because I'm doing this, but I will probably watch it later because I am curious. I know he just has a Monday show normally. But we'll see. A lot of people thought Jimmy Kimmel might retire at the end of this year. I don't know if he will now. One thing I learned through doing all this research that I'm not trying to go on the no, I mean the Fox News people will be allowed to say whatever they want because the people who watch them will not turn out at all. So anyway, okay. So one thing I learned about the Colbert situation, and not to say that Colbert uh, is going to deserve to be canceled or something. I'm more just saying the economics of it. Apparently, one of the major things that really hurt Colbert is Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and almost every other late night show, Saturday Night Live especially, very much got into what's considered the clip economy, or had YouTube channels and TikToks very active on them, and were getting a lot of views, and that became an outside sense of revenue for those things. And Colbert was never good at getting that audience because he has an older audience that isn't online as much, and his channels never took off as much. And a bunch of late night reporters we heard on podcasts all mentioned actually that was one of the things that really hurt Colbert, is that he never really took off internet wise, and that was sort of an issue for them as they're looking for that. For that, so that I found that to be interesting. I just wanted to share that because I found it. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I can't think of other than Skibbity Biden, which was a national embarrassment. Uh, like just watch Skibbity Biden. That's all I gotta say. But okay, I thought this would be long, but trying to think. But okay, my other thing about the late night thing is I do think, uh, um, what happened with what's happening with late night shows is much like happened with retail, where first people go, oh, it's Amazon on the internet, but it's not Amazon on the internet. It was actually mostly leveraged buyouts, um, which ended most of the malls stuff. Like KB Toys was a leveraged buyout. They just basically bought it and put all their debt onto this company, and a lot of them died that way. Some of them died because of the 2008 recession and other factors. But I think what's going to happen with late night is a lot of them are going to die because of these things. But in the end, like maybe they could have gone on a little bit longer. Maybe it could have been something interesting. So we'll see. Anyway, that was a good amount of time on that. I don't know. It is really fucking distressing. I mean, it's just like, it sucks that it's Jimmy Kimmel because now we gotta like act like we liked him and stuff. But like that's the part I'm not super fond of. Because I'm not really a fan of him, but I don't want him to be canceled. But it's basically like if you get in the way of a corporation's merger, or it can be used to leverage to make that merger get approved, that's what's going to happen. And the Colbert thing, in a sense, set a precedent because the Ellison showed, like, hey, look what we did, and their merger happened, you know? And I think, if NBC or Universal wants to buy Warner Brothers instead of Paramount, curious what their move would be, and I think we all know what it would. I also think, I mean, the thing is, everyone's like, what's going to happen with Saturday Night Live because they're really out of this discussion. I know Jimmy Fallon canceled some personal appearances today. I don't know if he's doing an episode. I'm curious what he would think. I know Colbert, who him and Kimmel are having a little more uh have a better relationship, had talked about it. But I'm actually a little curious what Jimmy Fallon would say, and Seth Meyers, but I guess I'll see what they said tomorrow. Old Jimmy Fallon hasn't aired yet. But this is very weird and very strange, and Trump's very happy about it. But I'm like, I don't know. You can tell that there are a lot of older guys on the show because I don't think most people even like. I didn't know about that monologue till he got thrown off the air. Did anyone know about that monologue? I don't think anyone did. Like, why was that so offensive? I find that bizarre. It just seemed like a very pointed way, like they knew they had a sacrificial lamb and they used any excuse in the book to get rid of them. But this is distressing. I don't know. Make sure to vote in a way that we can get rid of this shit. If we can still do that, not to be one of those guys, but in terms of television, this is probably one of the most distressing moves I've seen since like the Smothers Brothers had a thing sort of like this, but this is the next level in terms of how these evil businesses are going to work. And maybe, I don't know, it feels like those businesses are real government at this point, and that's not good at all. Um, yeah, no, I don't think he really cared about any of these people. I think they're using it as an excuse. And yeah, no, Jimmy Fallon. I'm not going to whitewash Jimmy Fallon's history, but anyway, I mean, Saturday Night Live. The thing is about it, other than the late night shows, that is makes a lot of money. So I think that would actually be a fight, because that's like what the most profitable show on TV right now. It's like it costs everyone's like it costs $100 million. I'm like, yes, but it makes a lot of money, and the clips make a lot. Like it's just a money making machine. So to me, like the late night shows are vulnerable, but Saturday Night Live is not. So that's going to be an interesting move. I've also heard weird reporting on Saturday Night Live. People are like, well, they hired all white people or all white guys, and the one black guy, worked for the Kill Tony thing, and was like, they hired a woman too. I don't what's going on. I kept noticing them not mentioning it. I don't understand that. Anyway, I'm not sure what they're trying to do. I mean, they did hire like not a super diverse group of comics and stuff, but it's I don't know. Just be careful listening to stuff because I noticed like I'm not sure what people are doing with that kind of stuff, but I've noticed some of the info is just like not true, and they were saying like Sinclair and Nexstar I've seen are called distributors, but they're not really. You wouldn't call them distributors. So I don't know. I don't know. Just like be careful about this because I do always give warnings like this is a conservative gateway. I don't know what people are doing selling this info wrong. I'm a little unclear on that. I haven't figured that out yet, but it's just a little distressing. Just like as I was going through so many different ones of these, I was like, why are people? Anyway, I'm with you, Ryan. I miss hiding to go. All right, could all man could it all merge till it's prime Netflix and Apple? I sort of. I mean, Apple. Cheers to you, Jorkins. Apple does. The only move I'm surprised no company bought Regal or AMC. I really thought that was going to happen, and nothing's happened. But I think Seth is the most vulnerable, yes. But okay. In the trailer that surprised me this week, and this is for real about this. This might seem random. Uh okay. The Anaconda trailer. I think we knew they were doing one with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. I think we knew it was going to be funny, but I didn't really know the whole scope of it. And I actually really like the premise where it's like these guys who want to make their own Anaconda like on the cheap and make a movie. I really like this concept. It seems a lot of I like movies about people making movies. It's my favorite thing, but I always like that. But it is like it looked really fun. I also thought the interesting thing is like Jack Black played a film director in King Kong. Is that interesting casting? Maybe I should review King Kong. It's been there. It is King Kong. But yeah, I thought it was a trailer that legitimately surprised me. I was kind of like into the idea. I've never seen an Anaconda movie, nor have I ever wanted to see an Anaconda movie. My friend and I got in trouble at a video store for all these kids being excited to watch Anaconda. My friend goes, Anaconda sucks. And everyone was like, hey, that's not cool. And we're like, well, it does. We didn't know that. We didn't. I assume we're right, though. I don't know. Still haven't seen it. Maybe Anaconda. Now it seems fine to me, but at the time, I was an idiot. I was an asshole. But it seemed I like the concept. I like the idea of like, oh, they kill the Anacondas and then they have to go. It seemed like a fun thing. It is going to be interesting because Jack Black is such a kid's thing now. So I'm curious about seeing him being not a kids movie feels weird. So but anyway, all right. Coming soon to a movie near you. Yeah, you're probably right. I did. That's my own fault. The whole review, like, does Anaconda? I mean, isn't that a review? All right. In news you probably forgot about because this week is crazy. They announced the Super Mario sequel title, which is Super Mario Galaxy, and just a quick little trailer thing with the star that said all the messed up stuff and Mario sitting there. I was a little surprised. I like the game Mario Galaxy. I played it on the Wii. It's one of I'm not a gamer, as I know this is a shock to all of you. But the idea that but yeah, Mario Galaxy, I was surprised by the title because I was like, I thought it would just be Super Mario Brothers 2 because Super Mario Bros. 3 was like a monster, so you'd think they'd want that name recognition. So this is like my question. I did post this on the Discord, but like, is Super Mario Galaxy like big enough to get the title already? Like, I don't think they should do Paper Mario and Dr. Mario and Mario Tennis and like Mario all this other stuff and oh yeah, the Gophers and all that. But I was just surprised that it got to be Mario Galaxy. Maybe it's because it appeals to so many different demographics, and you're like, well, let's appeal to the younger people. But I don't know. I mean, Mario Galaxy is a cool game. I'm assuming Yoshi because they tease that and the Gophers and all that stuff. But um, I don't know. I was surprised by that. Or Mario Sunshine. Isn't that? I go, okay. It was one of the biggest Mario games. All right. I was just surprised. I was like, oh, are we okay? All right. I would have just done Mario 2, but hey, just finished a Guar show, so can't make. Wait, what? Oh, Bloxy, have you been to the? You saw Guar? That's awesome. Cheers to you, Bloxy. That's amazing. I've not seen Guar, but I went to the Guar bar in Richmond, Virginia. Bloxy, I highly recommend it if you're ever there. But like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see like what they do after this one. But I was really surprised. I do really like Mario Galaxy a lot. And I think it's a really good game actually. And I'm curious what they're gonna do from the game. But I don't know. I also think Super Mario, like that movie was gonna sell $1 billion worth of tickets, regardless. You could have named it. I don't know, but as long as it has Mario in the title, you're sort of okay. But anyway, Guar is in a Kids Next Door episode. I didn't know that. That's cool. But yeah, I was gonna do. We're gonna talk about what is this? But okay, sorry. Let's talk about Demon Slayer. And then I'll do Robert Redford and shit. But before, okay, well, these are sort of we'll just talk about Demon Slayer. So Demon Slayer, or Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, and I'm not trying to minimize this, but like in terms of box office weekends, first off, September is an insane month this month because we had an $84 million opening and then a $70 million opening. This is like better than fucking June or something. Like, what is going on? I'm super confused about that. But then, uh, Demon Slayer hit, and everyone was like, "What is this?" Every box office prediction was like, "What's Demon Slayer gonna?" Like, everyone thought it was gonna be big, but nobody expected $70 million. This is the biggest international release in U.S. box office history. It is the biggest biggest animated opening for animation this year. Zootopia, I think, might have something to say about that, but might not. It outgrossed Mission Impossible's opening weekend. It's the biggest international movie open. This is crazy, by the way. It's the biggest international movie opening in the U.S., outgrossing Pokemon the first movie. That before this had the biggest opening weekend for an international movie in America was Pokemon the first. I didn't know that. That's crazy. It's in the top 5 all-time international grossing animated movies. Internet meaning like not from America, obviously, because Pixar's got those $1 billion in elimination, all that. It might end up being the highest grossing international movie ever in the US. It's currently third. Crouching Tiger is at 128, so it's possible. It's actually already up to 84 at this point as I'm recording this, or at least that's what I know of. It's the second biggest movie internationally from Japan of all time. The first one being, I think, the first Demon Slayer. This is, if you're looking at, have you seen any animation history this week? Like, holy shit, this is it, man. Every studio now, Sony owns like a. If you're going to talk about monopolies, Sony owns most of the anime market, and their decision to buy Alamo Drafthouse looks practically fucking genius at this point, even though it's insanely evil at the same time. But what we're going to see now is a lot of studios are probably going to try to invest in anime. They can't, they're fucked, but they will try, and there'll probably be a lot more adult animation because they just showed not only can you do it, but you can break through, you can get Gen Z in there. Like, Demon Slayer doesn't mean as much to me, but everyone I know who's a lot younger than me knows everything about. All I know is he has the coat and his sister with the thing in her mouth and she's a demon or some shit. There's too many episodes. It's not like Chainsaw Man, which I'm now like getting through. I might actually do a review of season 1 of Chainsaw Man just because I like it. I kind of relate to it. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Oh, you missed the energy drink. It's Redcon energy. Anyway, um, but this is the kind of weekend like I noticed like one of the bigger animation box office weekends of all time uh was when Don Bluth outgrossed Disney. I think this is a similar bellwether. The other one in the 80s was the Care Bears movie outgrossing everything. But Demon Slayer doing this, I think it's a younger demo, and typically, I didn't check the daily thing. Typically, those sink like a stone the following weekend because, unlike older audiences take their time, younger audiences love to get there as soon as possible. That's just how it usually works for movies. I'm curious how Demon Slayer will hold. Their only real competition this week is him, which is not getting great reviews, which is disappointing. I was excited for Marlon Wayans to have a little comeback there, but this is an insane thing. It had the top theater average. It had so many things going for it. It dominated the weekend. It dominated the conversation movie wise, and every studio is probably just now like, okay, maybe adult animation can be profitable. Um, you will take me off air if you don't read something. I'm getting into it. I'm not joking. But yeah. Oh yeah, and I heard Channing Tatum is in Demon Slayer because his daughter likes Demon Slayer. I like that. That's cute. But what I think this will mean, I mean, we'll see. I'm surprised we haven't heard more announcements, particularly for Disney, who's losing Gen Z, and everyone's worried about Gen Z. And it seems like we both had two very Gen Z openings in terms of Conjuring Last Rites, which appealed much more to the younger crowd, and Demon Slayer. And it seems like horror and anime are far more, in terms of box office, what we've seen, are far more their interests. So I'm curious if studios will take note of this. It seems like only Warner Brothers and Sony at this time can take advantage of this. But if Disney is looking at this, I think they are going to need to figure some shit out, because the fact that we're talking about like the biggest animated opening, and you had, a Pixar movie, some DreamWorks movies, or was it two? Yeah, like Bad Guys 2, Dogman, all these things. It's just wild. So I do think they really should recontextualize what they're doing here, because this was a word of mouth thing. It did have a lot of advertising, but Zane Fires want to bet Disney learned the wrong lessons for this. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Cheers to you. I do think um what happened with this, and maybe a lot of people are saying, not because I really like Chainsaw Man, I do, but like the idea that you have a show that has a lot of momentum and you build and build and build, and then the audience, will want to hear updates of it, and then you release the movie. I am curious if a company will come up with that sort of business model. And that's like just talking corporately, I think there's possibilities they will do that. I know there's been a lot of talk online. No real corporate talk. I've heard people make up rumors. It's not, to my understanding, true. They should do take something from Star Wars Visions and make a movie out of it. I think if I was Disney and I wasn't like, holy shit, we just defended Trump, what are we going to do? But if I'm not doing that, I'd be like, what if you do a Star Wars anime show, do it very well? You can have Filoni obviously did the American animation thing already, so have something like that and have it build to a movie. I do think we might see that with streaming. That would work out very well, but we'll see. But what happened this past weekend in terms of Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is this is really precedent setting, and this will change a lot of stuff. And I do think we're going to see more anime taking over. I think what Gen Z's big movie thing, and I'm sorry I'm saying Gen Z, I'm not a huge fan of the um saying the generations thing, but I think it's true, is that like we're going to see like, it's going to be video game movies, horror and anime. And I'm really curious how it's going to work out, because video game movies can be all over the studios, anime is just going to be Sony, and horror can be anything. So I do think like whatever Disney's going to do, they're going to have to go back to like when they did horror movies for a little bit or something. They're the company I'm most interested in having to figure out this new landscape. Um, but it's weird. Like Demon Slayer might outgrow. I don't know if it'll outgrow Fantastic Four or something, but I'm curious what its prospects are the following weekend. But I don't know. I do think that it's not bad for cinema what's happening. I think what is happening is the other generations marginalized these franchises and didn't act like they were important and act like, made fun of people like anime and horror. And that's always what happens is the next generation goes, but they're really cool. I want to be into that. And look at what happened. I don't think, a Black Cauldron should be a show. If you read up on that book series, it should be a fucking show. But I am very curious what's going to go on with this in terms of every company. So one of the VAs from DS Boy Spices from us. What? I don't understand what that means at all, but good for them. Cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. Also, a fact that a lot of people bring up. Apparently, Ted Sarandos, um, who runs Netflix, said on his thing that apparently 50% of their views are anime, and I think a lot of these companies should be looking more at the anime stuff, but are going to. This is one of those moments where you sit back and look at what the fuck just happened. In other news, there is other news. One thing, first off, this September is wild. If you look at the box office, Conjuring was number 2. Number 3 is Downton Abbey, the grand finale, which I don't know anyone watched it, but it's sort of weird that Downton Abbey's still going, but it that we got 2 like TV to movie things in one weekend, and they did pretty well. Mandela Butterfly says, "Have you seen any Dragon Ball movies or episodes?" I saw in the '90s. First off, cheers to you, Mandela Butterfly. Thank you. And for splurging, that's like 2.5 shows. Not to be a jerk, it's like because you normally do the $1 and not say anything. I saw a Dragon Ball show where Goku was a kid in the '90s. I haven't seen too much of it. I would like to at some point in my life. It sort of like wasn't on TV when I was really into anime, and then when it was on TV, I was like not watching the shows it was on. So it's like anyway, I wish I had seen more, but I saw this one I know who a lot of the characters are, but I don't know it very well, and frankly I don't think that's a cool thing. I wish I knew more about it. But thank you for that, Metro Butterfly. And I think we're past $20, so we'll do the flashing while I keep talking about. How about flashing while box office talk goes on? Thank you guys for getting us this far during the show. All right. So the other things, the long walk kind of, I wouldn't say tanked, but definitely got all the wind blown out. I think it should have come out this weekend instead of that weekend, but whatever. The Toy Story release was in the top 5. This is the 3rd week in a row we have a re-release in the top 5. Re-releases are big and back. I didn't hear a lot of people actually going to the Toy Story thing other than in the animation community, but it still made $3 million. The other kind of interesting thing, I haven't heard a lot of talk about this, Hamilton, which was number 7. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just thought it was funny. I was like, wow, Manila, I'm just so used to you doing the same thing there. Hamilton, apparently there was some confusion over the release of Hamilton, and I wanted to acknowledge this at least, because I didn't hear a lot of people talk about it, but I find it interesting. So if you look at the advertising for Hamilton, a lot of it at the beginning was that it's a sing-along release, much like Kpop Demon Hunters. But it is not actually a sing-along release. But again, like I keep mentioning with this isn't a re-release. It was never released in theaters before. This is a release, technically, because they never did that. But apparently people just come and they want to, watch the Hamilton movie, and people start singing, and they're like, shut the fuck up. So it seems to be, and if you look at the ads, half the stars are going like, I can't wait to hear you sing along. And supposedly, like, there's rumors Disney wasn't sure which they're going to do. So anyway, if you plan on singing Hamilton, people are singing. Just be cool about it. I don't understand why people... I like when people react on stuff, but apparently there is some confusion. I found that to be interesting. Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, only came in ninth. I don't know if I'll see, I wasn't, I don't know. Maybe I should, if I had the time, I'd review the original Spinal Tap. No, K-pop Demon Hunters isn't a re-release. It's a theatrical. It's not a re-release. I don't think it is. And then Sound of Music, which you probably also didn't hear about, was in 10th. So two, no, three, no, wait, is it three? Yes, three of the films in the top 10 are re-releases, which is wild. I've never heard of that. Sound of Music, Hamilton, and Toy Story, and each from different decades. Because Sound of Music having its 60th anniversary this year. I didn't realize that. Anyway, it was a really interesting box office, but it is September is wild, and also we are ahead of we're breaking this so far in September. We're ahead of where we were in pre-pandemic levels. That's how well the box office is doing in September. September is wild. I don't expect this weekend with him and Demon Slayer, but we'll see what's gonna happen. We'll see what's gonna happen. But it's been interesting so far. I kind of think we're gonna decline. I do think the Gabby's Dollhouse is probably gonna be pretty big as well. Although there is kind of some talk because of that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, One Battle After Another. Will it be able to perform? Because Warner Brothers had like what 7 movies in a row make a huge having these huge weekends, and will or over 40 million, like 7 releases in a row. I don't think the DiCaprio movie will do it. It sort of sucks that that's the one that ended it because it's like a Paul Thomas Anderson movie and stuff. But we'll see. Leonardo DiCaprio is actually going out and like doing a ton of press he doesn't normally, so maybe that'll push it ahead. But we'll see about that one. I think that's all the box office stuff. Yeesh. Just like this is a crazy show in terms of stuff. I was just like, ugh. I think that's everything for the box office. But and Baltimoreans did okay. I would like to see that. Every filmmaker in Baltimore who's ever been in Baltimore has at one point or another had a project called Baltimoreans, and no one's finished one. And yeah, what is that? Right? What? Gabby's Dollhouse looks practically Machiavellian. What the? Oh my god, I don't understand. Please explain that to me later. All right. Uh, I mean, I'm gonna do Gabby's battle after another, but I don't know. My kids aren't only doing part of that. All right. To complete the thumbnail trifecta, and not to bring everything down, but we need to talk about Robert Redford, who passed away this past week. Um, a legend in terms of his star power, in terms of who he was. We should probably have stopped flashing at this point. If we get to another $20, we will do the flasher. Neither do I. Thanks, Ryan. But if we get to another one, I'll do it again. Robert Redford died this past week. He an iconic movie star in his own right, who had some pretty massive hits and insanely great movies. As well as the guy who started the Sundance Institute, which is obviously named after his character in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's hard to talk about how big of an influence this guy has had in terms of film. I mean, having Sundance in itself is crazy. There are all these stories from people talking about how their film wouldn't have made it or wouldn't have become what it was without him specifically stepping up. I know Connie Britton was talking about how the brothers McMullen or whatever wouldn't have gotten picked up. Robert Redford was the one who funded it and stuff, and he really believed in film and funding great stuff and taking care of people and being liberal and just. And I don't know. This was a major loss for movies, and also he was such a great actor and such a great personality and such a good guy, and I think really loved movies in general. Everything from being in blockbuster stuff to big romantic movie like The Way We Were to Captain America: Winter Soldier to Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid and The Sting with Paul Newman, with some pretty insane things. Like I was looking through his filmography, he has a lot of really good stuff. I'll list off some I have a list for you guys, but this is like a major death. You can't really. It's just insane what happened. That he's gone. I'm just shocked. But a couple. I'll say one story I found that I thought was like really hilarious. I mean, he was just he was a personality. My mom always loved him and stuff, but he always like you wanted to watch him on screen. He was very much a movie star, and he always had a wonderful presence about him. But learning how he did so much good with what he had, I think I think that's a good lesson for anyone to use whatever little power to do good things. And we wouldn't have the independent era of film without him. The Sundance Film Festival is incredibly important to 90s cinema, and we wouldn't have Tarantino, we wouldn't have Rodriguez, we wouldn't have Kevin Smith, we wouldn't have so many filmmakers happen because of him. Even if he didn't have the film career, this would be a major loss. But with that and the amazing acting career, that's crazy. So this is a funny story. So Mike Nichols worked with him in the theater, and Mike Nichols was getting ready to do The Graduate, and he was like, Robert Redford really wanted to be in The Graduate, and he goes, well, you're not really the right type, or really handsome and stuff. And he was like, no, I really want to play it. And he goes, and Mike Nichols goes, have you ever been like turned down by a girl, or ever had like troubles with a woman, like she says no to you, or like you really want to go, it's not really working out? And Robert Redford was like, what do you mean by that? And I was it's like, so you're so handsome, you don't even know what it's like to be rejected by a girl. That was like that. He found that incomprehensible is hilarious. I was like because Mike Nichols apparently loved telling the story that Robert Redford didn't understand what it was like to get turned down by a woman. Is like I kept seeing people on Twitter, but like R.I.P. King of getting laid. Jesus. Anyway, sorry. I just found that story hilarious that he's like didn't even know what that was. I was like, dude. I mean, if you look like Robert Redford, I guess. Anyway, sorry. Here are some movies I would say to focus on. A lot of them are big classics and are pretty easy, and a lot of people have recommended. But yes, I 3 Days of the Condor is the one I thought of. Is probably the one I consider his great one. But I want to say this about them. Would you turn them? I probably wouldn't. Is the two he did with Paul Newman are just fun watches. I think Butch Cassidy and His Kid is the better one. Apparently, a lot of people say The Sting is the better one. They're both good. You're gonna have a good time regardless. Barefoot in the Park with Jane Fonda is a great one, a great romantic comedy. All the President's Men. I think All the President's Men is so good that anytime I see a movie that's about current events and stuff, and they're filmed in these very flat, boring ways, I'm always like, how did All the President's Men, like other than Zodiac, none of these filmmakers bring what is brought to All the President's Men. The cinematography is great. It doesn't feel dull or boring. It's not trying to be serious, so like they can't move the camera around a lot and shit, which is like they're not being serious, it's just lazy. But he really I think All the President Men deserves a lot of credit when you consider that genre is more about the actor than the filmmaker, and that was about both and excellently well. Sneakers is literally a great thriller with Sidney Poitier and River Phoenix and a lot of people, and Dan Aykroyd, really wonderful. But and of course 3 Days of Condor. I've not actually seen The Natural, and I haven't seen The Candidate, which I think my mom was shot like around where she lived at the time and stuff. So I actually I'm gonna see one of them. And I saw The Chase in there. He's just been in a lot of them. I know a lot of you might just know him from Winter Soldier or Endgame or whatever. But like go use this time and use everyone's talking about that to find something really cool. Something cool of his you haven't seen. Even if it's like a big one, who cares? Just using an excuse. Don't feel like stupid or you're like trend seeking or something like that. Just keep just use the momentum to see something cool and understand why people miss them in the first place. Buster's meowing over there. All right. And he was in Pete's. I forgot about Pete's Dramas until it's going through his filmography. All right, I am a little afraid we will go long because there's so much stuff, and I kind of want to get it in, but we'll see. If anyone wants to give me some more energy, not to be all like that, please do so I can keep doing this. All right. So K-pop Demon Hunters. There was actually a story that there is a classification by the film's ratings board about a debut a K-pop Demon Hunter story rated PG from Sony Pictures Entertainment. No one's sure what the deal is with this, and no one's sure like what it's going to release in front of. It said distributor Sony Pictures Entertainment. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it played in front of Demon Slayer. I'm not sure. Um, uh, but it is interesting that that is Buster busting it down. Yeah, he's been meowing a lot since his bud went away. Um, but yeah, it's I'm not sure what to do with that information. It is definitely a ratings document that was released. I definitely think it is real, but we don't know anything about that short at present time. Would Robert Redford be better president than Reagan? I mean, yes. Wasn't he the president in the Watchmen show? Wasn't he? I think he wasn't it? Wasn't that in the show? Anyway, cheers to using person. He would have been a better president than Reagan. Absolutely. All right. So if you've heard about, they want to make a sequel to the movie Heat. Um, and the comic. It was in the comic. Oh wow, I didn't know that. I read that comic so long ago that I liked the show though. It was a good show. Leonardo DiCaprio apparently is in serious discussion to be in the Heat sequel. I've actually never seen Heat, and it's one of my bigger omissions. I need to do that. But apparently the script is good. Michael Mann, I believe, was considering directing it, and DiCaprio is considering maybe doing it. I think this is also because DiCaprio doesn't. He is a big star. He commands a big paycheck. He needs to do more box office things, and this would be good for that. And he could work with Michael Mann, do all this stuff and all this stuff. But we'll see. I have seen Heat Thief, but yes, he is considering doing Heat 2. There's all sorts of rumors that apparently this mainly is done because what they want is, oh my God, Buster. Okay, I might have to go out just to pet him or something. The idea is that once you get Leo, you can get other big cast people and stuff like that. I've heard all sorts of crazy rumors. I heard theories that maybe they could get Daniel Day to be the other. All this, none of that's confirmed, but we do know Leo is in discussions. Um, what did he work with Michael Mann? Did he? What? Oh, that was no that. What movie was it? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think you might be thinking of Ridley Scott, but I can't think of anyway. I do think it that could be a pretty big thing, and I think it could work for DiCaprio and all that stuff. Show us the see. There's a sound blanket between me and him, so if I have him in here, maybe I should have him in there. I might because he's really meowing. It's kind of crazy. All right. The Batman 2 has. Hold on. Maybe I'll just bring him in here. Hold on a second. You want to hang out with me? Let's put hey, don't freak out. Hey. All right, where are we? You want to say hi? You don't like hanging out like this, but you're really freaking out. It's okay. He's okay. He's going through a rough patch. You know what I mean? All right. Anyway, you all know why. It's okay. They've never worked together. Buster's demanding more treats now. Oh, maybe. Well, he got some food, Willie Velvet. Are you guys texting? Did he tell you? So Matt Reeves has said that Batman is an Elseworld thing. It is not this official part of the gun thing. So Battinson or whatever will not cross over with Corny Sweat's Superman at this time. This has been a discussion. Almost everybody knew that that this was true, but this was finally the confirmation of all of that. I'm not surprised, but I think Warner Brothers probably wants it, but I'm also like, if I'm Warner Brothers or I'm James Gunn, just save, like I've said before, just save Batman. Just save Batman. You know what I mean? Buster, have you seen Garfield? You no, you haven't. I've never watched that already. Don't call him corny sweats. Sorry, I shouldn't call him that. But anyway, in other news, I don't know if this was officially closed or in discussions, but A24 is close to getting the Texas Chainsaw Massacre rights. Or I believe, or going to. I think this is a good, kind of. This could be a good idea. I know A24 is sort of becoming a different company, um, and they're want to have franchises and stuff. This would be a good way to do it. A lot of people are like, well, Texas Chainsaw isn't really like a prestige thing, but the first one's pretty arty and weird, so I do actually think it's probably a good idea to maybe go back to some of that original movie rawness, if I was being honest. I'm not sure who they're going to get. Ari Aster probably needs a hit, is all I'm saying. I don't know what his Texas Chainsaw would be. That sort of sounds interesting. But I do think, like, I understand why they would want it, but they do have an actual horror branding. Like, the whole, I should stop moving my hands. Oh, do you want to get down? If you want to hang, you can hang out in here. All right. Zane Power's fifth movie of the Joker. Let's go. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. Well, sir. Well, now he's like, well, maybe he'll fall asleep. All right. Oh, there he goes. He's figuring out. Hopefully he won't. Sorry about all that. I think A24 could do it. I don't think it needs to be Ari Aster, but that might work out where they're like, hey, dude, could you just do this and then we'll let you make another Eddington and you can do a Texas Chainsaw and then an Eddington or whatever. We'll see. But oh man, he is not stopping with that. All right, in other news, Jesus. In other news, Ryan Reynolds has admitted that he released the Deadpool footage. It's been a question for a long time who did it. It was like Ryan Reynolds and two other people. I think it's Tim Miller, Ryan Reynolds, and someone else. It's officially, he finally admitted that he released the Deadpool footage, which then got Deadpool made and became a movie and everything like that. So he officially, the movie thing that everyone's been wondering for all these years is that Ryan Reynolds released the footage of Deadpool. So that movie trivia question, no, yeah, everyone sort of. I mean, I thought it might be Tim Miller. It did occur to me because he sort of, him and Tim Miller, is it Tim Miller or whatever? Him and the director don't see eye to eye. Part of me thought, is it actually Tim Miller? And Ryan Reynolds is just saying it's him. I also think maybe because he doesn't want any of that Blake Lively. Isn't Taylor Swift is gonna be on that trial? Jesus, that whole thing is such a mess. Yeah, it probably is. All right, so apparently Warner Brothers admitted that they moved Mortal Kombat 2 to next year because, and they have done this, but this is a Warner Brothers move, by the way. They sort of made too much money. I know, big problem for them with Superman and everything else. And they did, as I mentioned before, because of the Paramount sale, they did sort of stack 2025 with a ton of stuff because they were worried they would get fired, and they moved everything that wouldn't work as well as 2026. So I think they're like, oh, maybe we should like put some in 2026 that like it does well. It is funny though. I keep seeing the trailer for Mortal Kombat 2 in movies I go see, despite that I'm like, this isn't coming out till next summer. They really have not pulled that trailer at all. They don't give a shit, I guess. But yeah, they did this before when The Dark Knight did really well. They moved the Harry Potter movie, whichever one came out in 2009, was moved from 2008 because they're like, we're making like a lot of money, so like fuck it. And so they have done this before. It's sort of, I don't think it's even the same people, but Warner Brothers as a company has done this before. So it's actually not super uncommon. But yeah, I did finally see Weapons. So if you're wondering. All right. In other horror news, sorry, I have like we'll see how many of these things. I do want to even get to the fucking Emmys. We haven't even gotten to that. Uh okay. The Amityville Horror, which you would think I'm confused why it never got sucked, the Conjuring never got to the Amityville stuff. It's just like other stuff. Because don't they, in every movie, don't they reference the Amityville Horror, but they never get to it? It's like the Thanos of the Conjuring universe or something. But apparently, David F. Sandberg, who did that video game movie thing and did Shazam and other stuff, he is going to do an Amityville Horror movie, I think, for MGM. Um, I'm surprised they haven't, based on how well the Conjuring movies did. I'm very shocked it took them this long to do another Amityville Horror remake, and they're going to do that with David S. Sandberg. Almost everyone I heard reported this is not excited at all. I actually haven't seen any of his horror stuff, but in a box office perspective, I sort of get it. But anyway, okay, I think Buster's okay. Sorry, he after Toulouse died, he's done that, and I think it's sort of I think he's having trouble with it. That's all. Sorry about that. Not to bring everyone down, but that's what I think's going on. But he's okay. It's tough. He knew him his whole life. Anyway, um, the creator of Hannibal. Oh yeah, that's right. Man, I do not remember. I've seen the first three. The second one I saw at a screening, and it was the Friday schools got out, and that was a real rowdy screening. Um, uh, I didn't like this. Man, James Wan needs to. I feel like his best work is not doing this. Anyway, the first one was fine. Whatever. Um, Apparently, the creator of Hannibal has said he wants to make Silence of the Lambs and wants Zendaya as Clarice. I think that's really cool. There's been some talk about that, or her leading more movies. We'll see if she has not commented on that. So that's like one of those. People are always like, when you do the ask me about the we're almost in things. Um, and I say like considered. A lot of times the actor doesn't even know. Sometimes they find out later, like the Sarah Michelle Gellar Back to the Future 4 thing. Like I don't think she ever heard about it because Spielberg was like, I'm not doing this shit. Or Zemeckis turned it down. Anyway, no, Spielberg. I made a video about it. Just type in that. I explain it all. I find it interesting. Anyway, sorry. That wasn't a plug thing. I was just mentioning that. Sorry. There is apparently talk of a Jurassic World Rebirth 2. And they really want Scarlett Johansson to come back and Mahershala Ali. No one's sure if it's going to be Gareth Edwards to come back. There's a lot of talk on who might they else get, but because Jurassic World Rebirth did so well, I honestly think just have a whole different group of fucking people each movie and have a different weird director. And like, anyway, there has been some talk they will not get David Kemp back again. I don't think that I worked out for him. As for, we're gonna just hit a bunch of stuff and then Emmys trailers. Yeah, I think we're definitely running long tonight. Sorry, or I don't know, just a lot of stuff. Supposedly the Beatles movies, 4 movies, will be $100 million each, so about over $400 million for all 4 movies. That's not super surprising. They are the biggest band, most recognizable band of all time. Is the Sam Mendes movie. They have Greg Fraser. It sounds like a pretty big production. They paid out those actors a ton of money for 4 fucking movies. Um, so yeah, it's gonna cost a lot. I don't think we'll see those movies. I forget when the release date is, but it's gonna be a bit. This I almost don't want to talk about this. So the Sphere, the Wizard of Oz getting praise at the Sphere. I've heard a lot of people praise it actually. It's really sad that people are okay with it. Oh, the Westinator. This chat is for Buster. My uncle just passed too, and he left behind 11 cats, and I've been helping to look after, so my heart is with you. Oh, thanks, man. That's very nice. That's really nice, man. Cheers to you. I'm sorry about your uncle about that. I'm sorry. Condolences to you and your family, man. Cheers to you. And check out Westinator's stuff. He's got some good stuff. But anyway, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Um. Okay. What's sorry? Yeah. So I wanted to give an up. God, there's like this is. I almost want to save some stuff, but I'm also like I don't. Maybe I'll save the Ellisons for next week. I'll just talk about all the stuff that's this week because well, it's about the TikTok. Jesus, this week is brutal. All right, we'll just y'all weren't planning on sleeping tonight. It's fine. So the Sphere, the Wizard of Oz thing, getting a lot of praise and getting a lot of money. Um, is oh wait, hold on. Georgian says, could GTA 6 affect the box office? It might, but I don't know. I think it would if it's a massive video game and a massive event. I mean, look at what happened to Avengers: Age of Ultron, and there was that boxing. I don't fucking know what boxing match that was, but it did hit the box office. I don't know how much. That's the discussion. What the like if your big movie that weekend was Downton Abbey movie or a movie that's appealing to a different demo that's not into GTA, then no. But if you're doing a movie that would appeal to people who are into GTA, they're going to have to make a decision, and that might not work out for you. So I don't know what weekend it is, and will ultimately drop on, but that has happened before. There is precedent in terms of sporting events. Like people don't open things against the Super Bowl for that reason. So yes, if it is big enough, yes, you're not incorrect. That is not a crazy thing to think. And cheers to you, George. Okay, sorry. The stupid Wizard of Oz sphere thing is getting a lot of praise. I've seen people who I previously respected post about how amazing it is. I still don't understand why they didn't just like shoot new people doing the Wizard of Oz, but whatever. Supposedly it's doing very well. They expect it to make a shit ton of money. And then, oh, good night, Medela Butterfly. Um, Thank you for being here. Thank you. They're also talking about they want to do Star Wars and Harry Potter in the sphere or versions of it, even though it's like 30 minutes shorter and all that stuff. And there is massive Matrix speculation. In terms of Star Wars, that's a Disney thing, and Disney has not signed off on that. In terms of Harry Potter, since Warner Brothers had to sign off on that, I think that's more likely. Matrix, I think, I'm not sure if, I really hope they don't. I think it's just like, could you just play the movie? Like, do you need to do all that? I don't know. I don't mind the 4DX stuff. It's just changing movie that I really hate. But there has been sadly a lot of praise for this, and I don't particularly like it at all. I like things like this, but it just changing like one of the greatest movies of all time, most watched movies of all time. I don't understand people's deal with that. It's like you could have. There's so many different versions of the Wizard of Oz, though, like from the Wiz to so many different ones. Why wouldn't you do your own just for the Sphere, and then you could own it instead of this weird bullshit? But is it enough to save the Vegas Strip? I mean, not morally, I guess, but I just think it looks like shit. But cheers to these things. I think it's like $200, but I like that idea, William Allen. I mean, why not make an exclusive thing that you can just see there? I'd be fine with that. Like, just shoot your. If you're going to make all this money, to me, it's worth doing it. But the other thing is there is still a Gundam movie with Sydney Sweeney, and Benson Boone apparently is going to maybe be her love interest or something. I've never watched any Gundam. It looks really cool though. It does seem to be the big franchise she's going towards. But we'll see. It just seems like a very weird thing. I don't know if there's a real director attached, but apparently they're casting and all that stuff. I don't understand. Is Benson Boone good casting with Gundam? This feels very weird to me, but she's definitely very for this Gundam thing. I guess she wants it to be her franchise and all that stuff. All right, the Emmys. I know, right? The Emmys. I didn't watch this, but I will talk about certain winners and stuff like that. Andor won for writing, which I think is pretty cool. Kendrick Lamar won for a Super Bowl special, a Super Bowl halftime, which I think is appropriate. Stephen Colbert won. I This was going to happen because there's so much momentum behind him after the cancellation. His speech was great. I have watched that show since, and I do think the show's gotten actually a lot better since he learned it was his last season. Um, but he does bring up that his show actually doesn't cost that much, like way too much when like almost everyone knows it does. I really wish he would stop doing that. And how they're number one, um, which I'm like, I don't know. That's a little annoying, but it's way better than it was before that. So I will give him that he's sort of turned the show around. But it was I think he deserved to win at some point because that's been such a he's definitely been a presence, and they do sort of just give it to the same fucking people over and over again in terms of that category. Wiley was his first win, which I was crazy about. Kristen Meladani for Penguin. Thomas Tillman was the first black actor to win Best Supporting Actor, which is crazy to me that like I never understand, like as I've done the actor things and stuff and directors, like Almost In and stuff. There's not a lot of people who are not white you can do those on, and Hollywood is not as diverse as like conservatives and people act like it is. It really isn't. And the fact that I mentioned this on Twitter, but the fact that we're still having award shows where like this is the first time, um, someone who's not white has won this award. Not good. We're clearly not very diverse at all. If that is still going on, I don't understand that shit. Like when people act like it's we're really not there at all. We're not at all. Hollywood is not there. I think it gets a little better sometimes, but it's really not there if this shit is still happening. Hold on, let me plug in charger here. Sorry. When you're streaming, there's like so many things. It's just, even though I'm sure the battery won't die, but anyway. The only other thing I was a little surprised. I mean, the studio won most. It was the most awarded comedy in its first season. I watched a few episodes. I was not really that into it. I honestly felt like some of it was to like myth make certain people Seth Rogen liked, which I found bizarre. Particularly, what's her name? The Sony studio head, who he likes a lot, and kind of made this whole thing about her, which wasn't really true. And I was like, I don't understand what he's doing necessarily, but it won a lot of awards. He won writing and producing and all this stuff. I don't really get it, but I don't know. And yeah, I heard there was some upset that Severance didn't win as much. I mean, to me, like when I was more into like call TV, like Space Ghost and Mystery Science Theater and all that stuff, none of the shows I liked won anything. I thought the Emmys were lame. I don't understand why people are like, I can't believe this didn't win the Emmy. I'm like, isn't that good though? Doesn't that mean your show's cool? I don't understand why. I don't understand that at all. But whatever. The boys and girls donation thing that that actor really wanted to do is uh I think it was kind of a neat idea. I didn't realize he would take away money from it if they spoke too long. I actually think what they should have done is add money. It became this really creepy, weird thing, and everyone hated it. And it was like sort of a misunderstanding. I also think like award shows should understand like nobody likes your bits and sketches and shit. Like just like do a monologue, let people do their thing. It really, from what I saw, it didn't really work. It was a cool idea, but it was executed poorly. What it should have been is like it adds to it. Every time you speak over it, adds to it. That would have been positive. Losing to it like put people in a weird position. And I also think like sometimes when people play games and stuff, they think of more of the cruel situations they can put people in and less like the fun they could be having. And I think that's honestly how that came out. I don't know if that was his intent, but that's how it came out. Not much else to say about the Emmys. I mean, all right, trailers that came out. Jesus. Monster, the Ed Gein story. A lot of people tried to do Ed Gein movies. I know it inspired Texas Chainsaw and Psycho and so many horror movies. I get why you'd want to do an Ed Gein thing with Charlie Hunnam. I know it's going to be really horrific and stuff. I think it will possibly be interesting, but I think trying to live up to all the things that were inspired by Ed Gein is probably really hard. So we'll see about that. The Housemaid, which was with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, that looked fun, actually, like a fun kind of Hand That Rocked the Cradle type scenario. I know there's actually a Hand That Rocked the Cradle remake coming out on Hulu, I think, next month. But it looked kind of interesting to me. And then finally, in the last trailers was the Chair Company. That looked kind of fun. I don't know what's his name, Tim Robinson. I haven't watched all of his show yet. It looked interesting. I don't understand what it is. I feel like I always want to watch his stuff. I never get around to it. Um, okay, we're not running. You can't beat Psycho. It's true. Um, I think I'll save two of these for later because I don't want to overwhelm the show. But in other news, Sean Astin won the election for SAG president. I believe his mother was also SAG president. So hey, what's going on, 13 Style King? So that is cool. I hope people don't hate him as much as the okay, I get what sorry, it took me a minute about the Gus Van Sant thing. It seems like everyone's happy about it. I hope he makes really good changes to uh I think they're both supposed to be the crazy ones in around. I think Sydney I'm not sure, but I believe both of them are supposed to be the crazy one. Man, every time I stream fucking uh will Ed Gain is boring. I mean, I can imagine. I'm curious how they would do it, but it's just like I think it's like one of those things like John Carter where everyone's like it inspired all this stuff, but like if you wait too long, it's really hard to reverse engineer like what's already been used your influence. Like I think that's happened a few times and Holly's like, well, it's inspired all this stuff, but no one has like a real theory on how to do that post all the things that inspired it while also trying to capture. I think that'd be a really hard thing to. I mean, look at John Carter. I know that movie's a mess. Like the screenwriting wise, it's just a disaster. I'm not here for. I saw that movie when it came out, and it makes some real fucking screenwriting errors. Um, Andrew Stanton should honestly know better than that. But it's a hard thing to do, and I don't think Ed Gein like there's a reason like because I remember telling friends who are really into horror movies, I'm like, did you know there was this one guy? And I was so excited, and they're like, oh yeah, there's been a lot of garbage fucking movies made about him. Don't because I was like, they should make a movie about him. I'm like, no, they shouldn't. And they're right. It's like some of these things, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Sorry, I need some water. So the last thing is the writers at Fred Rogers Productions and Spiffy Pictures have gotten union recognition under WGA East PBS's contract. That would be our favorite Carl the Collector, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, and Alma's Way, which I've actually seen all these shows. Sorry. Super positive shows, by the way. But yeah, they are under union, and I believe there's Carl the Collector merch as well. And yeah. I have seen there's a lot of people, including the star of She-Hulk, saying just unsubscribe to Disney Plus and stuff like that. I do think that would help if you feel you can do that. But I've seen there's protesting from the WGA as well. I'm curious how this is going to play out through the weekend, and if it's true, like maybe I should just go to Hollywood Reporter and see if they, uh, I don't know, maybe he will leave or something like that. But we'll see what's going to happen. So there's supposed to be some secret Taylor Swift movie or something. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Would that be the way she debuts her movie that she directed? That would be fucking wild. That'd be cool. I hope she does something like that. All right. I don't really want to go into the Ellison thing because it's like later on, and I want to spend time on that. But oh, good night, Dan. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I think next week will also be crazy. The other, I guess, thing. Uh, I'll save it. I'll save it. Anyway, I don't know that Jimmy Kimmel thing is going to be very wild, very wild. All right, I am going to take a break. Then we are going to do Mickey Mouse the because I would like to. I know I stopped doing the of iWorks Mickey Mouse, but I kind of would like to finish that out. I'd also like to do the other like do all the of Disney production stuff. Uh, So I'm slowly doing the Mickey Mouse ones. The Silly Symphonies are really season dependent, so I'm just waiting for those seasons. But I'll just like keep coming back to it randomly. I know the momentum isn't as there because there was a time where people were as super interested in it, but it seems maybe not as much. But I kind of would like. I also don't get to do a lot of older stuff from 29, so it's sort of my excuse there. But I think the barnyard battle is actually fairly interesting. So anyway, I'm going to take a break, go pee and stuff, and then we'll be back and we'll finish out the show. I was wrong. I don't think we'll be late, or maybe I'm not. I shouldn't say anything ever other than the news about any expectations of anything. But I will be right back. Sorry, I'll be right back after this, and then we will finish out the show. Thank you all for being here so far, and I will see you in a couple minutes. Okay, hello. Should really make some music or just have a track of music for the break. I really need to do that. Anyway, like I love that the Tron score is out. Oh, sorry. I do try to post it, but it is in the public domain, so it's fairly easy to find. Oh, I was gonna say something. No, yeah, I need to do these more. I should probably do the Felix the Cat one. Finally edit that up. And people really like the late night or the mystery cuddlers more than I thought. It was like, yeah, I should probably get around to this and yeah. Um I don't know. I'll probably just finish the fireworks, then I would just like to do more Felix the Cat. But I think there's a lot in 1929. I'll get to that. Oh, it leaked. Okay. I don't know, I'm not as excited for Tron Ares. I feel like Tron movies are like I like the idea of them, but they're not I never like the actuality of them, you know what I mean? Like I really like the Daft Punk score of the last one. I don't know, there's certain the one thing I do miss from the original that the other ones didn't do is in the original they used all the lights of whatever city the original's in and made it look like a computer circuit board or a computer thing like when it was at night. And I wish they did more. I think that stuff is cooler, like doing weird stuff like that. And even the effects look kind of niftier than the CG stuff. So I don't know. But I get like Disney wants to do their brand maintenance, so whatever. But I saw the last one in IMAX. I don't think I'm going to see this one in IMAX. I saw both of my friend Earl. I think at some point we saw the other one at a weird film festival screening, which was odd. And I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I think I only have a review of Legacy out. I don't know if I forget what happened with Tron. Maybe I should review the original. Then I have to like watch it again. Anyway, before I get into all this, I'm sorry to do the thing, and I apologize every time. We are, if you want to do another lights thing or any more super chats, this is towards the end of the show. Where I guess I don't know if I should have like a thing that shows how close it is or something like that. We're like not super close, but semi close. But if you want to do another Fellowship Lights thing, you still have the opportunity to do so. And thank you all very much you have given during this episode. I guess episode or stream or whatever. I thought I was Earl? No, I'm not Earl. Oh, I forgot to mention Zodberg. This guy from Degrassi, Wheels from Degrassi, I found out the actor died, but it was like in 2007 and no one found out until 2012. And I didn't find out till this week. And I thought that was very sad. He's from the original Degrassi show. And as more trivia is coming out, as more trivia is as more trivia is coming out because of the documentary that was kind of revealed. I didn't know that. It was kind of sad how he died. Even like kind of no one's fully sure and like alcohol. Anyway, if anyone knows Degrassi, apparently Wheels died a long time ago. Anyway, the Tron TV show. I wouldn't mind. I don't know. I used to like watching that Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon randomly. I kind of always wish I got to watch more. It seemed like my shit. Anyway, sorry. All right. Oh, I just got the was Sodberg. Is that a Cleese the Fetus reference? And I never played Earl, by the way. I'm gonna drink this just to keep my energy up. But if anyone else wants to, sorry to do that. That would be cool too. All right. Okay. Sorry. Where? Okay. Now, oh, it was? No, I never played Earl. I played Cletus and other people. Um, so this is continuing my series where I try to review every Up Iwerks Disney production and every Up Iwerks Mickey Mouse short. And this is the 7th Mickey Mouse short ever, and the 4th in 1929. If you're like, are there any more in 1929? Oh, there are a lot. There are 12 made in 1929. Yes, that is not true. Sorry. There are 12 in 1929. Yeah, for real. Up Iwerks would not direct any Mickey Mouse past 1930. Nothing in 1930. But in the 20s, he directed too much. Maybe he was burned out. That seems like a crazy thing to do. This is the last Mickey Mouse short to ever show Mickey Mouse this as the size of a mouse. He's basically going to him and the mice are having a big war against the cats. What war this is supposed to induce, no one's sure. They play Dixie from the Civil War. They're sort of wearing World War One stuff. There are cannons there. No one has any idea. Why does that matter? I don't know. But basically, they do an examination of Mickey Mouse to make sure he's fit for war, which apparently that gets cut out a lot for some reason. I'm not sure why. I don't know. It didn't offend me. I don't fucking care. But and then he goes. There's some more scenes, and then sorry, I don't know why I said that is not true. I'm just tired. It is true. He did do 12 in 1929. Blah. Okay, the show is hitting me now. Um, mm, uh, there you see some battle scenes between the cats and the mice, and they have this cool like tube thing where the mice like get the this kind of tube circle like U-shaped thing where the cannonball goes in the tube and then shoots out and hits the cats and stuff. It's kind of a lot of like Up seem to do a lot of this like I'm having fun animating this weird stuff and less like actual plot through the battles other than Mickey Mouse fighting a cat at one point. He had like a gun in a house and stuff like that. I actually watched coincidentally a Felix the Cat cartoon that had a very similar premise came up after and was made earlier in the 20s and was actually a lot better at telling the stories through war and having an actual battle thing. This is just like a whole bunch of nonsense happens and, Mickey Mouse wins and shit. That's sort of like a lot of them. This Mickey sort of does everything. Mickey's the greatest in all these, but, he's the thing. I'm not sure, like, the cannons thing is interesting because you do forget in 1929, cannons were not as outdated as they are now. They were sort of like still a relevant thing. But it is sort of a bunch of nonsense of Iwerk's nonsense going throughout. I don't think this is as memorable and as inventive as some of his other ones. There's certain moments I like, but it didn't really stick out to me, especially like the first four, which are great. This is fine. It's sort of just fun and some nonsense. It came out on June 1st, 1929. Um, Apparently was banned in Germany in 1930 on the ground of being offensive to national dignity. Not exactly sure why. But I don't know. They didn't like it. I didn't really get a good explanation. This was actually was later adapted into Kingdom Hearts 3 as an LCD mini game that is based on this short. I think this is fine. I don't think it is like Iwerks, like the way he has his kind of nonsense stuff. It's fun to go through and watch and go into, but like this is just like I don't know, the battle stuff just really didn't pop out to me as much, and even Mickey's parts don't pop out to me much. I sort of like him doing funny stuff, and this wasn't really as funny necessarily. It just played as like some silent animators doing some fun nonsense, and they did it, and then they it's over and Mickey Mouse wins. But like the others, I felt like I really wanted to get into and like learn all the things about it. And this one, I was like, okay, they're like at war, I guess, and it doesn't make any sense. And then they play Dixie at the end, and you're like, what war was this? You're like, doesn't matter, we're over, bye. And you're like, okay, all right. So it just played like a bunch of nonsense. It plays like he made 12 cartoons in a year, and this was just another one. But yeah, I think if this is going to be the last one where Mickey Mouse is the size of a mouse, that's fine. I preferred the other one where they're playing in the house and stuff like that. That was more fun, kind of the 20s animation, and this is more like just like the assembly line that it was at the time. And I don't think I have as that's really as interesting as an inventive, but it's still fun to watch this kind of stuff in Iwerks' animational. I just wasn't as into it and didn't think it was really as good so far, but it's fun if you're into this sort of thing. It's just not a standout Mickey Mouse cartoon. Cool. All right. Um, whoa, game ruined. I was surprised by the Kingdom Hearts thing. Okay, we're gonna do. I think I have like two Patreon questions. Hold on. Right? I'll hit refresh on the things. Let me write questions below. Man, I hope that's like editable, whatever. Since I screwed up that one part. All right, I'm gonna do Austin's first because Cinram has quite a doozy of one here. All right. Question. Austin says, "Hey Jim, hope you're well. Having a great show. My question: what advice do you have for folks job hunting? Have your resume up to date. Have it in PDF. Have it in document. You'd be surprised who wants a document version of it. Have it in any file size you can think of. I would say be polite and professional. If someone says, could you just send us our resume to this email, do it as soon as you can. I would say follow up on any lead or any person you know or something like that is really demoralizing and hard, and I'm not great at doing the job market thing. So I would say don't get too discouraged because it is really discouraging, especially the job market now, which is not great at all. It's really bad. So I would say don't lose faith and keep going. But I would say have as many different versions and make sure it's up to date and review it with someone and all that stuff. Do the cover letter thing. I've heard some people say they don't even read them because everyone does an AI cover letter now, but we'll see. Sinram, this is UGG. Due to Disney, ABC Disney, he said UGG. I didn't say UGG. Let me just preface that. UGG. Due to Disney acting like a bunch of fucking cowards who apparently need a goddamn Nexstar Tengana merger approved by Trump, they have done CBS Paramount one better and booted Jimmy Kimmel from their broadcasts with shocking swiftness. I have already canceled my Paramount Plus subscription, and now I will apply the same financial consequence to ABC Disney by canceling my Disney Plus / Hulu subscription. This is painful choice for me because Hulu has been my favorite streamer for some time now. Not only will I not finish Alien Earth series, but I haven't gotten around to finishing the Michelle Williams series Dying for Sex, nor the final season of Handmaid's Tale. Additionally, I will no longer watch any ABC or Disney-owned network programming and will refrain from seeing Disney-owned movies and series, including the new Tron, which I was eagerly looking forward to. I am just one person, one consumer of entertainment, but I hope that many other Americans make a similar choice and impact ABC Disney where it will hurt them the most, their revenue streams. My question for you, Jim, is if you're considering anything similar. Probably not. Just because a lot of those things are tied to, uh, other people watching them in my family and stuff. I I do think if you want to do that, you should do that, and I don't not respect that. As for what I'm doing, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna just keep talking about what the truth is here, and I feel like that has a certain amount of. I don't know if that's doing something, but it does. I feel a certain responsibility to sort of spread the truth about it and stuff like that. I don't know what the situation will be by the time Tron comes out. I have known Disney isn't the greatest company, but I also don't feel like any of them are that great a company. Um, I'm not sure what we can do at this point, all of us, and I don't know how much we can do to make that big of a difference. But I do think doing some of that stuff will absolutely help, and I think it's cool of you for doing that. But I don't know. I'm not sure. As much as I've talked about it and researched it, the ramifications of it keep hitting me where I'm like, this is very bad. And what is the ramifications and what will be the future of Disney and corporate entertainment and stuff like that? And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even sure what the best move is anymore, if there is a best move, honestly. But I'm gonna keep, talking about it honestly as much as I can and do that. But I don't know if that isn't what you guys want. I'm sorry. I just try my best, I guess. I don't know, but I respect people who do that. I have thought I need to just switch to a VPN, even though I need to get a new VPN because, yeah. But we'll see. But I respect your decision to do that, Simran. That's very cool. Okay. Zane Powers. With late night shows now in a survival death match on their road to death, which talk show do you think will get access to this and which will last the longest? Right now, I think SNL will be the longest and Seth Meyers is the most vulnerable and has been for a little bit. So yeah. Um that's what I think right now. Cornbread. Oh, maybe Kimmel though. Kimmel might be. If Kimmel says I'm done, then maybe that's it. Cornbread. Question. Been waiting all week to ask this to relate to Mario Galaxy. Do you remember 16 years ago when you ranted about how if you liked Mario Galaxy, you need to see Astro Boy in theaters? I think I do, and I'm right, and you should have, and it's everyone's fault that Astro Boy bombed. Jordan Salafalo. How do you write a review when you have writer's block? Well, I think with a review, there's always things you can bring up. You can bring up the director, you can bring up the influences, you can bring up the actors, you can bring up how you felt about it. And those are always things that are in a movie. You know, in any movie, there's a director or a creative force behind it. You definitely felt something. If you felt nothing, that's still something, right? Its influences, every movie is influenced by something. Or if it isn't, why isn't it? And you can sort of just go through that and filter it through. I also do find, and I don't know how people feel about this, but I do look at other reviews, and that also makes me not taking from those reviews, but a lot of times I'll disagree with them, but it'll make me start thinking about this and that and stuff, or talking with someone. I would say those are, but like most films have those things. Like they're made by someone, they're in a certain style, they have a perspective. There's all sorts of things like what their message is. It's really, if you really don't have anything to say, that's a real indictment of the movie itself. So, then the thing you photo, what's a dish you usually like cooking? My big one is I can make shepherd's pie, which is a real hard one to do. Actually, if you're gonna have one, I'm surprised that's the one that I can do well. I like making burgers. Um, I don't really get to cook as much. It's always hard to, and I really wish I got two more. But I also like making sloppy joes. Sloppy joes are cool. Same powers. Is doom scrolling actually good because it puts you in the right frame of reference for how the world is and it builds character? I just think the thing is with scrolling is it's sort of like what channel surfing is it used to be. And that's sort of what it is. I do think like there's a certain point you just need to put it down. It's not good for you. But you do sort of get in this like, whoa, what where 20 minutes go sometimes. And that's distressing. But I also think what we don't think enough about is if you're going on these services, see who you're following. And if you don't like what someone's putting out, and not just like, you don't like how they're spelling or saying it, but like you're noticing they're being negative, unfollow them, and or what oftentimes I'll see if like Twitter on the Discover thing shows me conservative people, I'll mute them and I'll hurt their, I am like, I don't want to see you anymore. So if you are noticing that kind of stuff, but it still can like, even if you train the algorithm, it's still, you know, oh, we are running long. See, I was right. I was gonna actually do bingo, but good luck, Panavision. I hope it works out for you. Defending Focus, have you ever met voice actors from anime? Also, I was trying to say in my super chat one that Demon Slayer bought spices for me and one of the Demon Slayers bought spices for me and I don't understand that, but cool. I don't think I don't. I mean, I guess I met Patrick Warburton at that one con, sort of, but that's about it. I can't think of any other. There's probably somebody, but I can't think of it right now. George Tunes, some favorite DreamWorks films. How to Train Your Dragon, all those, Kung Fu Pandas, the Teenage Kraken. I thought was really good. I like the Bad Guys movies. Can't think of anything else, but those are good. Same powers. Would you ever? Um, where is it? Um, would you ever open a cameo? I thought about it, and I think Ryan was like, "You're not, no." And if people would, I would totally do it. But I feel like I'm not a big enough person for that. Georgians, have you ever had a run in with the law you want to share? um, no comment. Austin, Jim, did you see my Dunkachino joke earlier? I saw you referring to it, but I didn't. I'm sorry about that. Thoughts on Sam Hyde? I don't know who the fuck that is. Cornbread. With your country now deciding that a podcast host is one of the most pivotal people in all history, I guess, what are some podcasts you just think deserve a statue? Don't say yourself. I mean, not really a podcaster, but I think YouTube considers this a podcast. Um, uh, Probably just Mark Maron. I mean, he's been doing it for so long. Or um, Whitney Seibold and William Bibiani. Probably those guys, I would say, because I listen to them a lot. Do you have any idea how many movie craps you've done? I do not. And then the real question is it movie crap existed before it was a streaming show? So how many with that and the thing? So how now brown cow for not plausible? I don't Yes? I'm not sure. Sorry. Question. Thoughts on from MBLT. Thoughts on the Carpenter's Son starring Nicolas Cage about bad Jesus is now being plagued with negativity by religious people like it's another last Savior Year of Christ controversy. I didn't hear anything about that, so I don't know. But that sounds cool. Dan Powers. In 50 years, when you get a day off work for Charlie Kirk Day, how will you feel? Be happy I got a day off work, but feel depressed about it. How would they topple Fallon? I think Fallon will stick around. Yeah, he did have a not plausible. He did have Gutfield on, so I just think he will adapt. Um, Nathaniel Fogga, how old were you when you stopped watching Saturday Morning Cartoon? I think I would still like watch some like Pepper Ann and stuff because my brother was more into sports, so like there wasn't competition, so I just put it on. Fully stopped. I'd say by high school it was over, and then I started watching again towards the end. So that's I guess the question, the answer. Um, Question: if in the world of Watchmen, who would be the inverse Trump celebrity turned president today? I don't know. Oh, like a good celebrity. I guess not Redford. Maybe Beatty. People always said Warren Beatty should run. Cornbread. Why is that shitty company called Sinclair and not a company who makes sinful, delicious, and decadent eclairs? What is wrong with it? Yeah, that should be. Um. Oh yeah, I heard about the Scorsese thing. I didn't really get to talk because there's so much here today. But is Sinclair related to Upton Sinclair? I hope I don't think so. What's your recipe for shepherd's pie? I think it's just Gordon Ramsay's one, and then I add a lot of anxiety. Um, you can taste my anxiety. It doesn't work. It doesn't work without it. Question: I have only intended on seeing 2 to 3 movies in theaters for the rest of the year, depending on Running Man reviews are right. Is that too few? What do you think I might be missing? I don't think it's so hard now and everything's so expensive and money's so tight for everyone. I kind of think it's fine whatever you want to do. In terms of missing, I think the Paul Thomas Anderson movie is going to be cool. I'm curious about Benny Supreme or Marty Supreme and the Smashing Machine. Sorry. Those would be the ones. And I know I'm seeing Wicked a few times and Zootopia 2. And Avatar will probably be an interesting experience at least. So I'd say that. Do you have a PO box in any form, Nathaniel? I do not. But if the channel gets bigger and there's more, super chat stuff, maybe one day, but I don't think we're there yet, unfortunately. Why can't you understand what Nathaniel is trying to tell you? I don't understand spices. What is I don't understand. I'm sorry. Why are spices were spices a thing in Demon Slayer? I don't remember that at all. So MLT question. I saw Exit 8, the first video game movie premiered at Cannes. You think this is a setup to the genre? And also for me that movie is fine, but it's already enough for its own idea. Yeah, might be trying to give it something like that, but we'll see. I think that is trying to give it more legitimacy. I think that's what you mean. Sorry. MLT, where's the Smash Machine hype? I have heard some, but it's not as big as you think about there. Cinema, how about Sydney Sweeney and John M. Chu's Split Fiction movie or Barbarella? I haven't heard as much about Barbarella or Split Fiction. I'm not sure. I don't know what's happening with that, but she seems to be a producer on Gundam, so I think she cares a little more about that. If you can't beat them, should you join them? No, fuck them. The West End here. Which Spider Verse movie has the better sound? The first one. The first one. I like the second one, but it's the first one. Not plausible. Remember when podcasts were fun, vicarious friend simulators before they became state property? Yeah. Mm. Yeah. I'm more sad because that was where I had friends there, and I don't see them as much. So sorry. Question: Thoughts on Jerry Ben and Jerry's quitting? That's fucking awesome. He should, and fuck those guys if he's not able to do what was part of his agreement legally, which is bullshit. Um, First run in with a pet you had. I guess it was Trevor the turtle, who was in the Knock Horse things. Did you hear that Monkey Bone is getting a 35 millimeter screen at Quentin Tarantino's New Beverly? I didn't hear that, but that's awesome. Congrats. Um, Zane Powers, if you did that means to move to a different country, would you take it? Fuck yeah. Austin, I mean, a job, I guess, also. What should I get after the gym food wise? There's a Wendy's close by. I feel shitty eating Wendy's after the gym. I mean, Wendy's is cheap though, so I would say just do it, you know? Oh, that's what he meant. I'm sorry. I knew you ran a spot. I thought there was like something related to. Sorry, Nathaniel. I thought there was like a Demon Slayer related thing. That's why I got lost. I'm sorry. It's the end of a long day. George Tunes, Mr. Beast is planning on running for president Sunday. Would you vote for him? No. No. Would you vote for Ninja for president? I would think about it. Oh, worst run in with a pet. When I was like 4 or 5, there was this cat who'd come around the neighborhood and everyone would pet it. And like I was 4 or 5, I had no experience with animals. And I think I probably got too close to the cat and he like scratched my face. And I like screamed and cried and I never came after that cat again. And that like I was very nervous around cats until my cat Olive, who's no longer with us now, just broke my phobia by just like rubbing her head in my face, which is a wonderful little moment. Anyway, uh sorry Nathaniel for you. I didn't know about that. I thought it was like really I thought there was I don't know. Anyway, I had an earlier you know what, I had a funny thing. I'll close out the stream. I'm gonna tell you a funny thing that happened to me. It's my fault. So in the Discord, I said how somehow Camp Rock came up, and I said it's funny because Dean Cundy, who shot the Back to the Future and Jurassic Park and Halloween, the infamous shot in Halloween, did a lot of John Carpenter stuff. He shot Camp Rock, which was like that's crazy. Dean Cundy sort of made a comeback because of the Mandalorian and stuff, but at the time of Camp Rock, he wasn't doing as well, and he shot Camp Rock, and then Ryan Walterson responded like the director of Oogie Loves directed it, but I guess he wrote it for some reason. I thought he meant it like the movie, and I was like, "What is Ryan talking about?" And I didn't want to like call him out on the Discord, and I messaged him, and I realized as we were messaging, he meant because I was like, "I don't want to call you out, but what do you mean the director of Oogie Loves directed it? I don't understand." And I realized he meant it like the director of Oogie Loves directed Camp Rock, not the movie It. I don't know why I thought that. I was like, oh boy. Oh, I'm glad I'll just admit this publicly, but I didn't want to do it on Discord because like I don't want to call Ryan out. But I would have been the one. Because I was like, Tommy Lee Wallace from Halloween. So there is a connection actually between the It movie and Camp Rock because Tommy Lee Wallace wasn't he the shape in Halloween, I think? And then Andy Muschietti did the other. So I was like, what? And yeah, it's embarrassing. It's like, I don't know why I thought Oogie Loves director directed it or had anything. Yeah, no. It was like I was like after I was like, whoa. I don't know why. I think maybe he capitalized it in the disc. I don't know why, but it's not his fault. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. There's no. Anyway, sorry I didn't get to talk about Andrew Roy's on the script. There was like too many things, and I think I was like, I don't like to make these things are already too long and all that. Anyway, I believe something will come out tomorrow. I hope it's the bad guys too. We'll see. I'm gonna try to do the timestamps. I don't know if it'll happen tonight or tomorrow or whatever. I'm gonna actually try to do it tonight. I'm gonna try to get better at that because I felt bad when people were putting just in the timestamps in the comments for the Beast Boy thing, and I'm like, maybe that would help people check out and stuff. But anyway, I want to thank everyone who gave a super chat. He didn't cap. No, I'm just stupid. Thank you. I think it was actually a very bunch of people use super chats. This is Jortunes, Javier Partello, Austin, Zane Powers, Jortunes, Black Sea Axwinkle, Zane Powers, Nathaniel Foga, Medella Butterfly, Zane Powers, The Wessinator, Jortunes, and Zane Powers. Thank you all for your super chats tonight. Cheers to you all. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying the videos. I was surprised my dumb little IMDb blind ranking thing did as well as it did, but I was proud of it. At first, I will say the shorts algorithm made me think I was an idiot for putting it out. And later I was like, okay, I'm not a total idiot. Most of the time. Anyway, I love hanging with y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for hearing about my nonsense. I'd love to see you next week. We'll talk more about the Ellisons and all that stuff. Y'all have a good night. Go see a cool movie. See a Robert Redford movie. Good night, all. I should leave. Subscribe if you'd like to, and I will see you all next time. All right, peace. Bye.